Hi guys, happy Saturday. Really happy Saturday. So, alright, back to Lilith. Yeah, I'm loving this whole entire, Lilith, and I know I've done, Lilith videos before and rituals with Lilith, but it's just never been this intense or fulfilling. So, alright, back to, this is what, part 3 of 76 now? So here we go. Alright, now the Zohar's description of this quaternion marriage is important. First, it indicates that the Jews believed their god possessed a female element named Shekinah. This might also be referred to as his spirit. So in Hebrew, the word for spirit was ruah, having a feminine gender. So only after Greek biblical writing did the word spirit become pneuma with a neuter gender. So that would indicate, this would indicate, according to the Kabbalists, that the Hebrew god Jehovah was not believed to be all male. So that does make sense. Second, so the name Shekinah did not occur randomly. It directly corresponds to Shakti, the term for the feminine animation or soul for man or God. So the Kabbalists believed God could not be perfect unless he was united with Shekinah. For without all evils came about. So in Hebrew, Shekinah meant dwelling place, a hint that God had no home without her. So Shekinah also meant animation or power, thus his creative ability. So in prehistorical times of Hinduism, one finds the association of Shakti with Lord Shiva. We all do. I mean, we know that. So this period was greatly influenced by the worship of the mother goddess and nature. Shekinah would appear to be a carryover among the Kabbalists. So, third, when indicating that following the destruction of the temple, that Shekinah left God and Lilith joined him, replacing her would seem to emphasize two things, according to the Kabbalists. God cannot be without his female element or spirit, and without it, evil comes forth. This is the reason, according to Kabbalistic tradition, the quipath of Lilith represents worldly pleasures. God also needs his feminine element for creativity. This divine creativity by some is thought to be the fiery lower part of Lilith. So the permanence of sexuality without which the physical world could not exist. Just as man requires his Shekinah for enlightenment, so God requires his Shekinah for wisdom and creativity. That's different. That's very different. Why am I blurry? Am I blurry still? It's better. So yes, that's very, very different. I like that. So fourth, Lilith is very important for magical purposes. This is especially true within the Kabbalah, since after establishing two premises, God possesses a female element, first Shekinah and then Lilith, after the departure of the former. And without this female element, God lacks creative power. The 4th century Gnostic Christians spoke of Shekinah as a spirit of glory, in which beings of light lived as children lived in their mother's body or house. So the Kabbalists expressed the essentiality of uniting the cosmic male and the female principles, the sun and moon, perhaps achieved through sexual magic. A union of God and Shekinah expressed on earth by man and woman, husband and wife. Thus one has the magic formula of as above, so below. Now it would seem, according to myth, that Lilith was with God when he created animals and men. So, for the Zohar asserts that Lilith, the soul, so Lilith is actually the soul, is both the animating and instinctual forces of every beast of the field. This is the soul of the creature that creeps to the 4 quarters of the globe, to wit, Lilith. Zohar I 34a. So here, as previously seen, is the Arabic direct separation of the natural form, from the spiritual. Lilith, the evil, has sway over the natural. So Lilith is associated with creation of man. God created Adam androgynous. Wow, I did not know that. This is very different. Huh. He created Adam androgynous. Then why would Eve have to be subservient? I don't get that at all. Anyways, okay, that's wild. So, Rabbi Simon, commenting in the Zohar, stated he believed this female was none other than the original Lilith, who was with him and conceived from him. Alright, so we have Lilith was with God first, so she is part of God, his female counterpart. So, alright, the Zohar states this female was in the male, on or at his side, until God breathed the soul into the male, then God served the female from the male. So God brought the female to the male, but she fled. So after she, or Lilith, fled the myth that Adam named all the animals. Several myths seem associated here, leading to some confusion, but one story is that God had Adam name all the animals, and after doing so he watched them mate, which caused him to experience loneliness and desire to also mate. So that would be the evolution of man then. So the inner forces working. So that, carnal instinct. So there are several versions of this myth. Some say Adam tried mating with the animals, a common Middle Eastern herdsman practice. Poor animals. Ew. Anyways, okay. Yeah. So the Old Testament declared it a sin, Deuteronomy 27:21. At first, Adam, which the Zohar says means both male and female, was androgynous, but after seeing animals mate, he felt loneliness. Having pity on them, God put Adam in a deep sleep and severed the female from his side, then adorned her as a bride and gave the woman to Adam. That's kind of nice. I mean, that's kind of sweet. A little bit. The Zohar's description of Lilith continues with other myths linking her to the primordial beginnings within the divine creation of nature, thus attributing to her the natural and instinctual attributes that were previously attributed to the goddess. So the Zohar could not eliminate nature, but by attributing it to Lilith, nature was relegated as evil as opposed to spiritual, which was declared superior or good. That's ridiculous. Nature is not. So, also such rhetoric helped diminish the prevailing nature religion. So that figures. The primordial beginnings involved God's creation of sea monsters. So these are the Leviathan and its female. So this nature or soul exists in everything that crawls. Leviathan. I love that. Okay, so this is the soul of the creature that creeps to the four quarters of the globe, to wit, Lilith. The Zohar I-34a. So the Zohar is linking Lilith to the primordial beings with the divine creation of nature, particularly sea monsters, has a close resemblance to the myth of the Babylonian sea dragon, Tiamat. So the Zohar continues to explain that the waters nourish Lilith, and the south wind spread her influence, giving her sway over all beasts of the field. One can hear them chanting to her at each of the 3 watches of the night. Zohar I-34a. I love it. I love it. So Lilith has been with the people, Jewish, Christian, and pagan, throughout the centuries. As previously stated, she is a renegade, sent from God to reign on earth in relation to humanity. So it should be remembered that Kabbalists held she had sway over, or powerful influence over, all animals. Jews and Christians remember Lilith mostly because of her demonic nature, being wife of Samael, but pagans, not believing in the Judeo-Christian God, respect Lilith mostly for her independent nature. They respect her determined spirit to be independent. A part of this appreciation relates to the Zoharic myth of her defiance of God. So she's not going to be subservient to, a man. Not ever. And that's evident, very evident for her. So, So the defiance is emphasized in the myth of Lilith fleeing to the Red Sea after leaving Adam. There she married or copulated with Samael, becoming the wife of Satan. So begetting 100 baby demons a day. Whoa. However, after she left Adam, became dissatisfied and complained to God, who then sent 3 angels, Sanvi, Sanasanvi, and Samagliaf, to bring Lilith back to Eden. Lilith rebuffed the angels by cursing them. The angel said that God would take these demon children away from her unless she returned to Adam. Lilith did not return, and each day God killed her 100 demonic babies. But despite of this, Lilith still bore her demons to show her defiance and determination. Then God gave Adam the docile Eve. The virginal Eve. Some believe this creation of Eve from Adam's rib is the purpose of 2 creation stories in Genesis. Wow. Killing her babies? And God created her for a purpose, but killed her babies. I mean, I don't care if they're like demonic babies, but still. Okay, so, as described in the rape of Eve, many women possess the Lilith aspect of the feminine personality, and Samael in men. So this is an personality aspect, which represents the witch's knife, giving her the determination and strength to depart or cut away from taking the sheltered and traditional path of womanhood, a path usually male and power-driven. The non-traditional path leads its feminine traveler on a very different road than the one traveled by the average woman, often at first to isolation. So in the feeling of complete aloneness and sometimes shame, the person asks, "What have I done?" But such isolation and shame, when accepted as challenges, can issue forth fortitude. After healing oneself from wounds inflicted by ordinary society, the woman decides whether she is going to repeatedly accept those wounds or fight back. If her Lilith aspect fully develops, she fights back by deciding the best ways of meeting numerous situations. She uses her knife to destroy injurious situations and defend herself. Performing her tasks may be slow, may by slow and arduous, but she seeks self-equality and justice. She seeks selfhood as Lilith did when storming heaven's gates. Wow. What a force to be reckoned with. So others besides women can feel the Lilith aspects within them too. So those who have been socially hurt or rejected, namely minorities. So yeah, we have Lilith. Lilith and Cain blood. I like that. Okay, so many count Lilith as their friend without knowing it. She is that fighting spirit in them that makes them fight for their own causes and the causes of others. Lilith is the renegade, no status quo role model. So this may be the reason the Kabbalists created her and claimed her to be an evil spirit. She was against their God. Their God. And therefore against them, the people of that God. Not God, but the people of that God. One God. But with others they did not consider as holy as themselves. Wow. Wow. That's insane. Okay, now, at the time, most that were not Jewish were considered minorities. This definitely included those of the nature religion or witches. So this is partially seen in the Moabites article. The Moabites and Israelites were peaceful neighbors for 300 years, even though the Israelites were forbidden to practice what they considered idolatry. A cause was the friendly relationships that the amorous young Moabite women struck up with the Israelites, which led the Israelite men to idolatrous practices and war between the two peoples. So strict Jewish religious practices served to keep the small groups during the period of exile close-knit and isolated. Anything interfering with these conditions was viewed as evil. Christianity has adopted a very similar view. It was believed that because God killed her demon babies, that Lilith launched a reign of terror against women in childbirth and newborn infants, especially boys. However, it is also believed that that the three angels who were sent to fetch her by the Red Sea forced her to swear that whenever she saw their names or images on amulets that she would leave the infants and mother alone. So it's really, really different. I mean, really different. I don't see Lilith that way. I see her as that force within us, that good force that wants, for equality and for, equal rights and everything. It's crazy. So, these beliefs continued for centuries as late as the 18th century. So it was a common practice in many cultures to protect new mothers and their infants with amulets against Lilith. Males were most vulnerable during the first week of life, girls during the first 3 weeks. Sometimes a magical circle was drawn around the living lying in bed, with a charm inscribed with the names of the three angels, Adam and Eve, and the words barring Lilith or protect this newborn child from all harm. So, frequently amulets were placed in the four corners and throughout the bedchamber. If a child laughed while sleeping, it was taken as a sign that Lilith was present. Tapping the child on the nose, it was believed, made her go away. Wow, I do a lot in my sleep. A lot. Alright, so according to some of Lilith's fecundity and sexual preferences showed she was a great mother of settled agricultural tribes who resisted the invasions of the nomadic herdsmen, represented by Adam. So it is felt that the early Hebrews disliked the Great Mother, who drank the blood of Abel. So the herdsmen, after being slain by the elder god of agriculture and blacksmith Cain, Genesis 4:11, Lilith's Red Sea is but another version of Kalima's ocean of blood, which gave birth to all things, but needed periodic sacrificial replenishment. So speculation is that perhaps there was a common connection between Lilith and the Etruscan divinity Lenith, who possessed no face and waited at the gate of the underworld along with Elida and Persephone, Hecate, or Persephone, so to receive the souls of the dead. So the underworld gate was a yoni and also a lily, which had no face. So admission into the underworld was frequently mythologized as a sexual union, so tantric. The lily, or lilu, lotus, was the Great Mother's flower yoni, whose title formed Lilith's name. So even though the story of Lilith disappeared, from the canonical Bible, her children, the Lilim, haunted men for over 1,000 years. It was well into the Middle Ages that the Jews still manufactured amulets to keep away the Lilim. So, supposedly they were lusty she-demons who copulated with men in all their dreams, casual or causing nocturnal emissions. Some priests, including St. Augustine, and magicians believed part of the ejaculate resulting from the male nocturnal emissions in masturbations is collected by the Lilim to make demons. Wow. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Even though Lilith might be viewed as archaic by many, many Christians have not even heard of her because she is only referred to as a screech owl in the Bible. Also, they are unfamiliar with the Zohar, so to others she is very important. They readily recognize her association with Samael. So the term association is inadequate because it is believed by some initiated in Luciferian witchcraft that Samael and Lilith were born as one in a similar fashion as Adam and Eve, again reflecting as above so below. So this resembles the Zoharic Quaternion marriage, except Samael and Lilith are above instead of God and Shekinah. So also it explains further how Lilith could replace Shekinah, since they both were spiritual female elements. Lilith was of the same angelic nature as Samael, but upon separation Samael stayed with his angels while Lilith was to reign in the world. So we'll stop there for now. It's really interesting. We'll finish the rest of this tomorrow. So this is really good. I mean, wow. That woman went through a lot. She had to fight for what she wanted, and she got it. I love that about her. It's amazing. So, alright, guys. I will see you all tomorrow. Sablecat, I am very, very happy that you enjoyed your Ouija session. It just makes me so happy. So, yes. I can, definitely light a blockbuster for you to get rid of all of that, potential harmful energy that is in your physiological body, because it does affect the physiological body as well as the central nervous system. So, some salt baths, reversible candles, that's pretty good. So, but alright guys, I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. So, all my love, all the way from Venus all the way back down. And Lady Gaga, why did you invade my planet Venus again? No, I'm kidding. Love you, Gaga. Alright guys, I'll see you tomorrow, and everybody have a good weekend.